Hey everyone, I just wanted to give a quick little disclaimer before we got into the actual video. I know that this is an Easter wreath tutorial and it is now June. I did film this video and edit it back in April. However, I did need to take some time away from social media for some self-care, but I figured I'd already filmed and edited it, so I would share it with you guys anyways. I hope you don't mind. If you are interested in creating a wreath for yourself, you can definitely use all the same tips and tricks. Obviously, you will just find different color schemed items and decorative pieces to decorate with at the dollar store. They pretty much have all of these types of materials all the time, so you're bound to find something that is within your color scheme or theme. Anyways, that's all I wanted to share with you guys before we got into the video. Yes, I know it's Easter and Easter has passed, but yeah, I just want to share with you anyways. Okay, let's get into the actual video. Bye.
Hey everyone, Haley here from The Foiled Plan. This is part one of my two-part wreath making series, and I'm going to be showing you how I made the base of my Easter wreath. How cute is this? I love all the pastel-y colors, and literally everything that I used to make this wreath was from the dollar store, which is wonderful for the budget. Now, part two of my wreath making series is where I use my Cricut to turn this fun little dollar store blank sign into the perfect focal point on my Easter wreath. So if that interests you, you're definitely going to want to check that video out as well. Without further ado, let's get on into the video. Let's do it. Alright, so I've got all of my supplies from the dollar store. Pretty much everything you see here is from Dollarama, with the exception of this wreath form. It was actually from the Dollar Tree, but again, still a dollar store, so it still applies for this project. So the most expensive thing that I purchased to make this project is this wooden blank sign, and it was $4. And everything else ranged from $1.25 to $1.50. And really the only tool that I will need to make the base of this frame is a pair of pliers that I can use to snip this wire to attach things to the wreath form. So the first thing that I'm going to do is make the base of my wreath with my mesh ribbon, and then I'll be able to add little decorations and things like that. So I'm going to get everything out of the way so that I have a clear surface to work with. I'm just going to take the tag off. Now, I think what I want to do with my mesh ribbon is sort of alternate the colors, because I want this to be really fun and bright and springy for Easter. So normally when I make wreaths, I use burlap, and I'm going to use the exact same technique. So I'm just going to open this up. Now, I suppose you could spray paint this white so that you don't see any of the actual frame through the wreath, but I'm opting to keep this project as cheap and easy as possible, so I'm just gonna leave the frame as is. So I'm gonna start with my pink color and just going to unravel it. You don't need to unravel the whole thing, just a little bit at a time. So I've just bunched up the end of my mesh ribbon, and I am going to go behind the wire form, and then I'm gonna tie a knot in this center section right here. So we've got the knot and everything is dragging out behind the wreath form. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a section and I'm just gonna fold it in half like that. And I'm going to push that up through this first row of wire that's the closest to the center of the form. So I've got that in there like so. And then all I'm going to do from here, everything is behind, I'm just gonna pick it up, fold it, bunch it, and then I'm gonna go through the middle section, just like that. Now you wanna make sure that you have the same approximate amount of ribbon poking through each of the wire sections, just to keep it as even as possible. So now I'm gonna hold on to these two, and I'm gonna do the same process to go through this last section. Now, if you notice that one of your rows seems to have more mesh than the other, you can sort of play around with it. So the next thing that I'm going to do is add in my white ribbon. So all I'm gonna do is move this over to the side, and I'm gonna scrunch this down. So I'm just scrunching it down because I'm gonna continue to work in this same section. Now, because I'm starting a new color, I'm gonna have to do the same process where I tie the knot around the wire form. Now, because there's no straight connecting piece right here where I wanna start the white, I'm just gonna have it stuck on one of these center pieces here. So again, I am going to pinch. I'm gonna come behind. Make sure you have enough to tie the whole knot. And again, I'm just going to push all of this pink down. I'm going to move the white down as far as I can go. And then I'm going to start that same process that I did with the pink, where I lay it flat, fold it under, scrunch it, and then through that first section. What I like to do is take my thumb and put it underneath the mesh, and then kind of close my hand over top to make sure that it's flat. And then I fold it under with the rest of my hand, and my thumb is still inside, so that kind of creates the loop. And then I take my thumb out and scrunch it all, and then boom, I'm up through that middle section. And again, same thing. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is repeat this process with my blue color, because I want to alternate between 3 colors, and I want to have 3 separate colors in each little quadrant here. And then I am going to show you how to repeat the pattern around the entire wreath form. And I'm just sort of going to use my pliers there to keep things from moving around on me. Just be careful when you're working with mesh ribbon, because it does have a tendency to stick to itself, and then it's a little bit tricky to work with. So we have our first section done. So now, in order to start repeating the pattern, we have to go back to the pink mesh. So all I'm going to do is move my blue and my white out of the way, and then I am going to take my pink and I'm going to go underneath the wreath to bring it out the other side so I can start working with it again. Now, what you want to do, I don't know how easy this will be to see. I'm going to flip this over so you can see what's going on kind of underneath. So this is the last loop of the pink right here. So what I want to do is twist it a few times, and then I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to start the process again. So I lay it flat, use my thumb underneath, scoop it underneath, I scrunch, and up through that first section. Now this one I can tell has a lot more mesh than these three, so I just want to adjust it by feeding some of the mesh back through. Now it's time to go back to the white. Okay, so I'm gonna continue doing the rest of the pattern around the whole wreath, and then I will be right back. All right, so I have managed to complete the pattern all the way around, and I am left with a little bit of leftover of each of the colors. So before I tie off the mesh ribbon around the wire to finish it off, I'm just gonna flip the wreath back over, look at it this way, and make any adjustments to pull more mesh through where it's needed. The nice thing about this mesh ribbon is that you can sort of like pull it apart and stretch it so it looks a lot more voluminous. Okay, that looks good to me. So now all I'm going to do is flip it over, and just like I did when I started the wreath, I'm going to find the closest support and tie a knot. If you have a lot of excess after you weave the mesh through and then tie the knot, you can just cut this piece off, or you can sort of weave it in and out of the frame, and that's what I'm going to do. So because I want this to be as loud and fun and tacky in the best way, I am going to start the decoration process. So a couple of the things that I got to decorate this wreath are these little glitter garland Easter eggs. I also found in the Easter section at the dollar store these little Easter necklaces. They say Happy Easter on them, and I thought it might be kind of neat if I cut them and then sort of like strung them in and around the wreath so it kind of looked like garland as well. We'll see how that goes. And then I also got these little butterflies, and it's kind of handy that they're already on these sticks because these are bendable, so I can actually go ahead and bend them around the wire form and then they won't move. So I ended up getting this 20 gauge hardware wire, and that's what I'm going to use for attaching things to the wreath itself if they don't have something to attach them. So before I actually stick anything down, what I'm going to do is sort of drape everything on top of the wreath where I think it might look nice, because there's nothing worse than getting everything attached down and then you take a step back and look at it and you're like, what was I thinking? So let's just play around with some of the decorations. Okay, so I think I've got everything kind of how I want it. So now all I'm going to do is take some of this hardware wire and cut pieces out. Now all I'm going to do is take this hardware wire, and wherever I see something that I've added as a decoration, all I'm going to do, loop it through so it pokes out the back of the mesh. And then from underneath, all I'm going to do is twist the ends together as if it were a twist tie. Just make sure when you are attaching the wire, when you're tightening the pieces together, you do end up folding them underneath so they're behind. Once you feel like you have everything attached, it's a good idea to pick up your project and just gently give it a shake. And I see right here, this section is not stuck down. So I'll just go ahead and take care of that. You can even flip the whole thing over, give it a shake. If nothing comes off, then you are pretty much secure. So there is the base part of our wreath. Now, the next part is completely optional. I always like to have a little sign in the center of my wreath just to draw your attention in. And I find since I'm using so many bright colors, if I keep the sign white, then the contrast just works really, really nicely together, and it'll make the sign easy to read, and then it's not overwhelming when you have so many different colors. Now, if you would like to see how I make the sign for the center part of my wreath, I will be posting that in a second video, so make sure you guys check out that because it's gonna be super cute and we'll totally tie this all together. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial today on part 1 of making my Easter wreath. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to hang out more with me, hit that subscribe button and I will continue to make these types of videos. Any comments or questions, just leave them down below. I love hearing from you guys and respond as quickly as I can. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I had a blast hanging out with you guys today, and well, that's all I'm gonna say. Bye!